Hello and welcome to another Lumbridge Knight boss guide for pay-to-play OSRS. This video is my complete guide to the Wintertodt, updated for 2025. Wintertodt is a great place to pick up supplies, especially for Ironman accounts. So whether you're looking to do the combat achievements, solo, or do it as part of the group worlds, this guide will help you master the Wintertodt.
To access the Wintertodt, you need 50 Firemaking, and I recommend completing the Druidic Ritual quest to allow you to create rejuvenation potions, though there is a workaround for this which I will show you later in the video.
All other items can be found within the instance apart from 4 pieces of warm clothing, which I will give you a guide to later in the video.
Calling all potential squires and knights, the Lumbridge Knight needs you.
Why fight the Wintertodt? Well, the main reason is to obtain rewards from the reward card. These are great for materials and they scale with your skill level at the point of redemption. So the higher you're mining, for example, the rarer the ores you will obtain from the supply card. There are also some rarer, more desirable drops, such as the Pyromancer outfit, which is extremely desirable as it counts as warm clothing and when completed, grants the wearer a 2.5% Firemaking XP boost. There's also the Dragon Axe, one of the best hatchets in the game, the Tome of Fire, and probably the most desirable thing of all, the Phoenix Pet, which I personally would really like for my hardcore Ironman. You can also get burnt pages from the supply cart, which fuel the Tome of Fire. These can also be obtained from Ignesia, who is outside the Doors of Din. She will offer you burnt pages or additional rewards in exchange for Wintertodt unique items. Unlike the previous supply crates, you can simply stack rewards in the supply cart by not claiming them after the round ends, which saves a hell of a lot of bank space. The second reason to come to Wintertodt is to get level 99 Firemaking. Wintertodt offers arguably the best Firemaking XP in the game, starting off at level 50 with 135 to 160k per hour, building up to 270k or 320k depending on whether you decide to fletch. Wintertodt therefore makes Firemaking one of the fastest and easiest 99s to get in the game. The 99 Firemaking cape also counts as a source of light, which makes it extremely useful for certain quests and slayer tasks. On top of Firemaking, Wintertodt also offers decent experience rates in woodcutting, fletching, and construction. The final reason for completing Wintertodt is to complete its combat achievements. There are a total of 8, which we will go through later in the video. Wintertodt is located at pretty much the most northern point in Greater Curend. You can get there using a games necklace or by hoofing it from Port Piscarilius. Those with access to the Fairy Ring network can also teleport to just north of the Arceus Library and head north from there. Games necklaces are cheap and easy to make, so this is my recommended method.
As I mentioned earlier, you will need 50 Firemaking to access Wintertodt. I also recommend completing the Druidic Ritual quest, although there is a workaround.
You should also ensure you've bought your player-owned house to receive construction experience from repairing the braziers. The rest of the items you will need can be found within the instance apart from 4 pieces of warm clothing. So why do you need warm clothing? Warm clothing offers the maximum damage protection from the Wintertodd's cold attacks. I have 2 recommendations for warm clothing, the easiest one being something like the anti-Santa suit, which if you've taken part in any of the events across Runescape, you'll be able to go to Django in Draenor Marketplace and claim a lot of the event suits. Quite a few of them, especially the Christmas ones, count as warm clothing. Alternatively, if you haven't got any of these, I recommend getting the Clue Hunter outfit, which I've made a guide for, so I'll add a link on screen and in the description. A quick note, for any older players coming back, there used to be a big advantage to having 10 HP and cakes for food, but since players can now drink the rejuvenation pots themselves to restore their warmth meter, which has replaced HP, food is no longer required. First things first, Wintertodt is a dangerous activity, so hardcore Ironman status will be lost on death. Equally, Wintertodt has 3 attacks. The standard attack is unblockable and hits at random. There's nothing you can do about this attack other than wearing warm clothes to reduce the damage. The second attack is the brazier attack. When you see the snow flurry above the brazier, a few seconds later it will explode, damaging anyone stood in an adjacent square. The third and final attack that the Wintertodt uses is a random area of effect attack. As with the brazier, the attack is signified by a blizzard which appears around 2 seconds before the attack actually hits. So you have that long to get out of the way of the AoE. It's a 3x3 square and anyone inside it will take warmth damage. These two attacks can deal a decent amount of warmth damage and are best avoided if possible. The standard attack is unavoidable but tends to deal a lot less damage. Moving on to the Wintertodt prison itself, there are 4 braziers with 4 pyromancers in each corner. There's a safe zone just in front of the Doors of Din, marked in green on the map there. This is a key location because Wintertodt cannot attack you. Here you can also find most of the items required to fight the Wintertodt. While the braziers are lit and the pyromancers are standing, players can feed the lit braziers, which will gradually reduce the Wintertodd's energy. As the battle progresses, Wintertodt will attack the pyromancers and knock them out. Players can then use rejuvenation potions to heal them. The Wintertodt will also attack the braziers, which must be repaired and relit, requiring a hammer and tinderbox or Bruma torch. It also has a non-damaging attack that will put the braziers out, so you'll need to relight regularly. Once the braziers are lit, players can use an axe to chop Bruma roots and feed them into the fire, either directly as logs, or use a knife on them to make Bruma kindling and feed those into the brazier for additional points in XP. When fletching for speed, it is recommended to get the fletching knife obtainable from the Veil Totems minigame. For completing each of the actions mentioned, the player is rewarded with points. Players need to accumulate points in order to get rewards for defeating Wintertodt. The more braziers are lit and being fed by players, the faster Wintertodd's energy will decline. There is a HUD which indicates the condition of each location as well as your current points total and the Wintertodd's energy. A pair of crossed logs with no fire means the brazier is not lit. If you see the wizard's hat, this means the pyromancer is down. If you see the hammer and chisel, it means the brazier is broken, while the lit fire icon means the brazier is lit. In summary then, alongside your 4 pieces of warm clothing, you'll need a tinderbox or torch to light the braziers, a hammer to repair the braziers, an axe to cut Bruma roots, and a knife to fletch Bruma roots into Bruma kindling. All of these items can be obtained by the entrance,
where you can also pick up incomplete rejuvenation potions and pick the herbs required to complete them. Previously, this could only be done at the sides of the prison outside of the safe zone.
As mentioned previously, the fletching knife is superior to the standard knife and is the best item if you can get it. There are 2 ways to battle Wintertodt, either solo or using one of the group worlds. Which is best really depends on what you want to do as a player. For either method though, I would personally aim to get full pyro ASAP, primarily due to the 2.5% firemaking XP bonus the outfit gives. Ignoring the gloves, it also counts as warm clothing. The Bruma torch, also part of the set, is equipable too, so you can save yourself an inventory slot. A quick note on axes. You should always wield the best axe you can. Ironman, obviously you'll be stuck initially with a steel axe, but everyone else should wield the best axe possible, as you will cut Bruma roots slightly faster. It's a bit of a myth that after steel there's no difference. There definitely is. So which method should you use? In short, soloing offers more rewards and more construction XP, while the group worlds offer 30% more firemaking XP. This is due to the way the rewards are distributed, so you can score a much higher points total soloing than you can using the group worlds. Soloing can also be done in small groups and is a bit more AFK versus the group worlds. So the choice depends on whether you want to prioritise getting firemaking to 99 as fast as possible, or if you want more rewards. Previously, there was some maths required here relating to the number of rolls per supply crate, and needing to get a points total of 13.5k. However, since supply crates are no longer a thing, you can solo for an indefinite number of points. Essentially, you get 2 rewards for the first 500 points, and then an additional reward for every 500 points that follows. So 1k equals 3 rewards, 1.5k equals 4, etc, etc. Technically 750 points has a 50% chance of getting 3 rolls, which is a good target for the group worlds, whereas soloing, it's just a case of stopping on a multiple of 500 when you get bored.
Please like the video and support my content. Thank you, noble knight.
To do the group method, log into any of the group worlds, and once you've got the equipment mentioned previously, 4 pieces of warm clothing, hammer, tinderbox, knife, axe, and a couple of rejuve pots, you're ready to go. Definitely worth noting is that even on the group worlds where the pace of the Wintertodt battles is quick, you're still probably going to need 1 or 2 rejuve pots, especially if you take some accidental hits from the brazier or AoE attacks.
To make rejuvenation potions, simply pick some unfinished potion from the crates, and then head to the sprouting roots just next to it in the safe area by the Doors of Din. There's also a workaround for those who haven't completed the Druidic Ritual quest. If you speak to the character Bruma in the corner there and have the unfinished potion and herbs in your inventory, they will combine the two together, thus removing the need for Druidic Ritual. You might see in the video that I'll still pick the sprouting roots from the centre locations. This is because originally these were the only locations in the dungeon, and old habits die hard.
Remember, if your warmth meter hits 0, you will die instantly. These also allow you to heal the Pyromancer if he goes down, giving you the Mummy Combat achievement, if you haven't already got it, and healing the Pyro is now worth a whopping 75 points. So grab an incomplete potion or two from the crate, and then grab a herb in between rounds. You will notice the players mainly group on the east or west side braziers closest to the entrance. Each side is identical, so just pick one. I always went east, but each to their own. When the game begins, you want to be stood next to the brazier because you get 6 times your firemaking level in XP from lighting the braziers. So anytime it goes out, you want to be there if you can to light it back up. For comparison, you get 3 times your firemaking level in XP for feeding Bruma logs and 3.8 times for feeding Bruma kindling. So once you've lit the brazier, head straight over to the nearest Bruma root, stand in the safe spot to protect from the AoE attack, and start cutting until you get a full inventory. Once you have a full inventory, head back over to the brazier. If you follow my advice, I always try to fletch my first inventory because I want the fletching XP, and to make sure I hit between 750 and 1k points per round. So if you don't want to fletch, just feed your logs straight in. When fletching, stand 1 square back from the brazier in case it explodes. I tend to stand here because it's close enough that I can see the brazier, so when it breaks I can get straight in and repair it to maximise construction XP. Once you have a full inventory of fletched kindling, feed it to the brazier. Then rinse and repeat. Once Wintertodd's energy is below 40%, you should consider just burning logs to ensure you burn all of what you have cut. Just remember to maximise your points by healing the Pyromancer when possible, as well as relighting and repairing the braziers. And that's it really, it's that simple. Just keep going till the round ends and then repeat. I tend to do 2 or 3 rounds in one go to stack up some rewards at the supply cart before heading out to claim and bank them. The trick to surviving Wintertodt is to not lose concentration. 99% of the people who die here, especially hardcore Ironmen, die through disconnects or through just taking their eye off the ball and getting hit with splash damage from the AoE and a couple of standard attacks. Some additional tips: you want to be getting the full Pyro set ASAP because of the 2.5% Firemaking XP boost, which is definitely worthwhile because it's going to cut down the number of runs you have to do to get to 99. As such, I would claim all rewards until you have gotten the full set, after which you should start stacking them up. I also use the Runelight client, as there are certain tools you can utilise that make your life easier. First and foremost being the Wintertodt plugin, which has some nice features, and it also sends you a notification every time you are idle. So one thing that you'll find happens a lot, especially on the group worlds, is the standard attack will hit you multiple times in a row. It's incredibly annoying because the standard attack interrupts those actions, so if you are fletching or feeding and you are hit, this will stop the action from proceeding. Hence why the system notification is a really useful tool. It also converts the number of logs and kindling you've got in your inventory into points, so you can always figure out the points you're likely to have once you've fed into the brazier. Another useful plugin is the Entity Hider. You can turn this on to hide all the other players. This is incredibly useful on the group worlds because you don't get the carnage of hundreds of players running around. It makes the whole thing a little bit less confusing, so I definitely recommend using the Entity Hider to hide other players. And the last tip, I'd probably say is more for hardcore Ironmen or just people who don't particularly want to die at Wintertodt and lose stuff, is as soon as you can, get yourself a Ring of Life. It's not guaranteed to save your life, but because Wintertodd's damage is generally gradual in the way it's dealt, it's probably the perfect activity for a Ring of Life to actually save your life. So I would recommend this for hardcore Ironmen. In the group worlds, you are doing well if you can consistently hit 1k points, especially when it's busy, as the more people, the faster the Wintertodd's energy will go down. So how do you solo? Well, the first thing is to set yourself up in the same way as you would for the group world. So minimum 4 pieces of warm clothing, Bruma torch or tinderbox, axe, knife, hammer, and 3 to 5 rejuve pots. Here, a couple of energy pots may also help. Once set, run around the instance, lighting all of the braziers. If you haven't made your rejuve pots, you can pick your herbs up as you pass. If you have 60 agility, you can take the shortcut at the top and do it all in one loop. If not, just double back, so light the first brazier, and then move up to the far corner, and then come back on yourself. If that brazier has extinguished, relight it and work your way around doing the same on the opposite side. If you manage to get all 4 lit, and they haven't gone out, head back to the safe area and wait for Wintertodd's energy to fall. While you're waiting, if needed, draw 5 unfinished potions by right clicking and selecting 5, then mix the herbs to make the rejuvenation pots. Now all you have to do is keep the 2 southern braziers lit.
What we are aiming for is to get Wintertodt down to below 30%.
We are doing this because as the Wintertodt reduces in energy, the frequency of the standard attack and the area of effect attack goes down considerably, which will reduce the need for our rejuve pots. When Wintertodt gets down towards 30%, the braziers will start to go out a lot. This is where you may need the stamina or energy pots, or if you are really struggling, a partner. Once Wintertodd's down to around 30%, pick your side and head over to the safe spot and start cutting Bruma logs. This is a bit different to the group world because once you've got a full inventory at the start of the run, don't bother to fletch the logs, just get them into the brazier as soon as possible and keep wearing Wintertodd's energy down. You're aiming for around 20%. Once it's down below 20%, you can start fletching. Again, I like to fletch one step back from the brazier. Yes, it's dangerous and you may get hit by the area of effect attack, but it's rare. As long as you're watching, it's pretty safe, but it means you're right next to it so that as soon as the brazier breaks, you can get on and repair it and get that valuable construction experience. Keep cutting, fletching and feeding. If Wintertodd's energy ever falls below 5%, we need to let it recharge a bit as we don't want to accidentally end the round. If left long enough without a lit brazier, Wintertodt will start to recover energy. What you can do is use this time to finish fletching any logs in your inventory, replenish your supply of rejuve pots. If you've done this and Wintertodt is still below 5%, then simply go to the safe area and wait. This would also be a perfect time to go for a bathroom break in real life, or make a brew. While here, wait for it to return to around 10% before heading back out. And that's it really. You can solo for as long as you want, so keep cutting, fletching, feeding, repairing, relighting and healing until you get to your target. Remember, this should be a multiple of 500 to maximise your rewards. To end the round, simply run around and light all of the braziers as we did at the start. They are prone to Wintertodd's attacks, so will break and be extinguished often. Lighting all of the braziers at 5% energy will finish off Wintertodt pretty quickly. If you are struggling on this, you can just bounce between 2 braziers and keep feeding logs in as much as you can, or if you're really stuck, get a partner or second account to help. It shouldn't take too long. Once Wintertodt is subdued, your rewards will be automatically added to the supply cart for you to claim at your leisure. Congratulations. The final thing to mention is the combat achievement tasks. If this was your first ever Wintertodt run, you will likely have just received the Mummy achievement for healing a Pyromancer. You will also have received the Handyman achievement for repairing a brazier which has been destroyed by the Wintertodt. And by the end of the round, you will receive the Cozy achievement because you followed my advice and subdued Wintertodt with 4 pieces of warm clothing. The last one you will likely get is the Y Fletch achievement for subduing Wintertodt after earning 3000 points or more, which is easily done in solo. The remaining achievements are best done using the group worlds. To get Wintertodt Novice, you need to subdue the Wintertodt 5 times. This used to be 10, and it'll take no time at all on the group worlds. Equally, Wintertodt Champion requires you to subdue Wintertodt 10 times, again this used to be 50, and again just do 10 runs on the group worlds. Can we fix it, which is subdue the Wintertodt without allowing all 4 braziers to be broken at the same time? Again, the first time you do this on the group world, you will likely complete this task, and the final one is leaving no one behind, subdue the Wintertodt without any of the Pyromancers falling. It's a bit hit and miss, but I picked this up quickly just by doing group world runs. So just keep doing runs on the group world and you will eventually get it. And that's it, that covers the 8 combat achievements. In summary then, for the Firemaking skill, Wintertodt should be your first port of call. It's arguably the easiest and fastest way to get your first level 99 skill, and the supply cart rewards will set your account up for success. Happily, the cape you get as a result of your first 99 also acts as a light source, which will help you in those Slayer dungeons, which is another must for Ironman. Obviously, any account can benefit from the leg up, so it's thoroughly worth the grind to 99 no matter how you are playing the game. On average, it will take you around 670 runs to achieve 99 Firemaking, which is definitely achievable in 1 to 2 weeks. I also recommend that if you can devote the extra time, soloing Wintertodt is a worthwhile endeavour. It gives you increased construction experience and allows you to stack more rewards in the supply cart, increasing your chance of attaining the full Pyro outfit as soon as possible for that sweet 2.5% XP boost. In terms of combat achievement tasks, this is certainly one of the easiest to complete, so I'd recommend getting it done as soon as possible.
And finally, I've just got time to shout out our first member, Reese Marshall, at the page level. So thank you, Reese. Your support is much appreciated.
And that brings us to the end of this video. I hope that this Wintertodt boss guide was useful. Please leave a comment with any feedback or questions, as I'm keen to hear them. And all left for me to say is I've been the Lumbridge Knight, peace out, and thanks for watching.